So, if you're going back to school soon, or maybe you've already started depending on where you live, then this video is for you. For some context, I'm going into the third year of my program, and over the past 2 years, I've learned a lot about how to actually focus, get work done, and not burn out halfway through the semester. Because here's the honest truth about post-secondary schooling. It isn't just about grinding harder than everyone else. It's about knowing what matters, managing your energy, and making sure you're doing the right things at the right time, and not simply just doing more things than everyone else. During my experience, I've seen classmates try to pull all-nighters, cram entire courses within a week, and run on nothing but caffeine. And sure, sometimes they scrape by and get just enough done, but most of the time, they burn out, stress out way more than they need to, and the results suffer because of it. So in this video, I'm going to share 3 tips that have made a huge difference for me when it comes to staying locked in and studying smarter. And these are the same 3 tips that helped me land my third year internship at one of the biggest companies in my field, and more importantly, they've made school feel a lot less overwhelming and a lot more manageable for myself. So I would say the first tip I would give is to simply just know your own personal values and priorities. When starting post-secondary schooling, most people fall into the trap of saying yes to too many things, both school-related and outside of school. These include clubs, sports teams, part-time jobs, group projects, hanging out with friends. The list goes on, and it's different for everyone. It's not that these things are necessarily bad either. Most of them are actually great experiences, and I would encourage you to do them. But here's the catch. When you're new to managing your own schedule, it's really easy to take on more than you can actually realistically handle. And when this happens, that's when your grades start slipping, assignments pile up, and your stress levels go through the roof, as you don't have time to complete all these things and dedicate as much time as you need to all of them. So my solution to this, and what I think is a much better approach, is to simply just pause and take a step back and ask yourself these three simple things, which are: what's the most important thing to you right now? Where do you want to focus your limited time and energy? And how much time do you realistically want to commit to school, considering what you want to achieve? The answer to these 3 questions will look different for everyone. Some students might prioritize getting top grades because they want to get into a grad school. Others might put more focus on networking and building a portfolio, while others might need to work part-time to support themselves. Once you find your answer though, the key is that once your values and priorities come clear, it becomes way easier to say no to the things that don't really align with your goals. And saying no doesn't make you antisocial either. It simply means that you're protecting your time so you can perform well in the areas that matter to you most and save time for the things that make you genuinely happy. So if you're starting the school year or starting your first semester, I would say to write down your top 3 priorities that you want for the semester and keep them somewhere visible, like on your desk, your laptop background, or even on your phone screen background. And anytime you're about to commit to something, ask yourself if it supports at least one of these priorities. And by doing this, you'll help set your priorities straight and manage your limited time much better. So my second tip when you start post-secondary schooling would be to simply just start studying smarter and not harder. And I'm sure many of you have heard this before, but here's the reality. Once you start your program, you have full freedom, and no one's going to chase you down if you skip a lecture or fall behind on readings. So this realistically leaves you with 2 choices, and that you can keep up with the weekly work, or you can put it off until the end and try to cram it all in the last week. And I've seen people choose the second option, and honestly, it works maybe once or twice if you're lucky. And after that, you simply hit a wall and just don't have enough time to achieve the marks and goals you want. For me, the easiest way to avoid this though is to just simply stay consistent from the start. It may seem boring and repetitive, but from the start, do the readings, review lecture notes, and work on assignments as you go. Even if something seems optional, if the professor included it, it's probably there for a reason. So at the very least, at least check it out to see if it's relevant or not. And with this advice, I'm not saying you need to spend hours on every single task, as that's how you burn out. But luckily, there are ways to be efficient. You can ask students from previous years which resources matter the most. For example, if the consensus is the slides are enough, you don't need the textbook, that could save you hours and hours of studying time. Using active recall and spaced repetition instead of just rereading your notes is also another great tip that I utilize a lot during the semester. And also, keeping your study sessions short and focused instead of long and distracted is something that helps me get a lot of work done, as I find if you're able to lock in for a short amount of time and period while limiting all your distractions and not going on your phones, you'll actually remember a lot more from what you're reading and studying versus the latter. And as the semester picks up and deadlines start overlapping, you'll have to be okay with making trade-offs between different tasks within your courses. This is when you have to realize that it's okay to cut back on the non-essential work and things that aren't as important. Focus on the assignments, quizzes, and readings that actually impact your grades and understanding, rather than trying to do everything. And to help with this, I would say at the start of the semester, look through each syllabus and highlight the assignments and exams that are worth the most marks. These will be your high priority items, and you'll be able to plan your schedule and your time around them so you can achieve the marks that you want. So the third piece of advice that I have is to don't be afraid to use AI, but use it as a tool and not a crutch. For myself, I didn't start using AI until my second year, and honestly, I wish I had started using it sooner. When used properly, AI is literally like having a personally study assistant, and it makes you save a lot more time. For studying, it's able to summarize readings, generate practice questions, and create condensed notes so you can focus on understanding rather than spending hours doing the repetitive stuff and copying things down. And for assignments, you're able to brainstorm topics more easily. It'll help structure your outline, and it'll help you reword whole paragraphs within your essay to make it sound clear and honestly just much better. However, the big mistake I see with most students using AI is that they use it in a stupid way and they use it to do the entire assignment for them. By doing this, you don't learn anything and you risk yourself to plagiarism and bad grades. To avoid this, I would say think of AI as a productivity booster and not something to do all the work for you. If you let it handle the repetitive parts, you'll be able to focus your energy on understanding the concepts and adding your own ideas to projects and assignments. So I would say next time you have a reading, paste the section into the AI tool and ask for a bullet point summary. Then read it to yourself to make sure you understand and that it's actually correct. And by doing this, you'll save a lot of time while still being engaged with the material. So to close out this video and kind of recap my tips to perform better in school, know your values and priorities, study smarter and not harder, and use AI as a tool and not a crutch. And look, locking in for school isn't about working 24/7. It's about being intentional with your limited time, building consistency, and knowing when to do that final push and when also to pull back and chill out a bit. And if you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment and hit that like button. And yeah, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.